Hi, my name is Deb Weiss-Gelmi, and this beginner level video is meant for those coming to Iyengar Yoga for the very first time. So it will be slow paced. We'll do a few poses with a lot of information in them, but we'll move slowly, and it will be perfect for those of you who are trying this out for the first time. Props we'll need today are ideally a mat, a wall, a block. If you don't have a yoga block, then a footstool or something similar to that. A chair, you could use a chair from your kitchen table if you don't have a folding chair. 3 to 5 blankets or towels. And if you don't have blankets, then a couch cushion might work. Our first pose is Tadasana, also called mountain pose. So for this one, stand in the middle of your mat, join your feet together. If your feet don't go together, have them hip distance apart, both feet pointing in the same direction, parallel to each other. So start to bring attention to the bottoms of your feet. Find your heel and what it feels like for that full circle of the heel to connect with the floor. And then lift the toes up and feel the toe mounds from the big toe mound all the way to the little toe mound. Notice where most of your weight is and try to change it a little bit. Move your feet very, very minutely, a very little bit, from the big toe mound to the little toe mound, and then back to the big toe mound. And then lower the toes. And then lift and lengthen your ribs up off your pelvis. Lift the front armpit chest up and take the shoulders, flowing them toward the hands, toward the floor. Soften the face. And then for Urdhva Stasana, take your arms out in front of you, straighten the arms. And then bend your elbows, take your fingers toward the ceiling. And as we straighten the arms above our head, we'll take our triceps toward each other. So start the work with the triceps coming toward each other. And as you take your arms up to straighten them, keep that tricep work going toward each other. So now the triceps are up here and coming toward the face. So as you lengthen your arms up, feel the weight in your feet again and see where your weight is. See if it's mostly in your heels, if it's mostly in your toe mounds. And try to even that out now. With your arms up, even out the weight of your feet. So we have equal weight in the heels as we do in the toe mounds. And then bring the arms down. Notice if they're straight out in front of you. And then back to your side. So back to Tadasana. Broaden across the chest, flow the shoulders toward the hands. Soften the face. Another arm pose while we are in Tadasana is called Badanguliasana. So clasp the hands together and turn, take the elbows out and take the palms forward toward the screen. So then the outer upper arms come toward each other. Press the palms away. And then as you take your arms up and overhead, take the shoulders away from the ears as you do so. Lift those palms, lengthen those palms up toward the ceiling, and then take the shoulders away from the ears. Open the shoulders up, open the armpit chest up. Badanguliasana. Now feel the feet again. See if your feet are shifting. See if you're going to the habit of how you put weight on your feet. So try to notice the circle of the heel again. Try to notice the toe mounds. Spread that weight equally, and then we'll bring our hands back down, and we'll switch the clasp. So whichever thumb and fingers are on the front side, then you'll switch that and put those to the back side. So now we have a new thumb in front. Take the palms away. Draw those outer arms toward each other. Shoulders away from the ears as you take your hands up. Take your arms up and point the palms toward the ceiling. Press the thighs back, middle buttock forward, reach those arms up. Again, feel the feet, the full circle of the heel, the toe mounds, moving from the big toe mound to the little toe mound and back to the big toe mound. Soften the face. Press those palms up and lengthen the wrists up off the feet for one long line. And then release your hands, palms face each other, and then allow those arms to come down to your side. Again, broaden across the chest, shoulders flow toward the hands, toward the floor. Now we're back in Tadasana. Our next pose is called Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. So for this pose, ideally you'll have a block or the footstool or something like that, and a wall. Hopefully you'll have a wall available. If you don't have a wall available, then you can stand in front of a couch, might be helpful, either the front of the couch or the back of the couch. So we start in Tadasana. Press through your inner heel, big toe mound. Lift the side chest up and take your shoulders toward your hands. And then step your feet wide. And now have the wall right at your back. So I'm not leaning my buttocks against the wall, but my elbows can reach the wall from where I am. And then turn your feet to the side. So I turn my right leg out, point the toes away this way. The back foot, the toes are just coming in this side of the heel. And then make sure that your front heel lines up with your back arch. So if there was an invisible line from your heel going straight back to the arch in the back. And then lift the side chest. And then reach the arms out wide. And then check and see if your legs are wide enough. When we first start this pose, we oftentimes have our legs too close together. So one way to check is to think of an invisible line from your wrist all the way down to your ankle. And if your wrists go out farther than your ankles, then take the feet apart a little bit. And sometimes balance is an issue, so make sure you've got the wall there to help you be that wide for the first time. So lift that side chest up again, and then we'll tip over to the right side. Put your hand down onto the block or your shin, and then the top hand on your hip for a moment. And then reach that top arm up. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of that back foot to come on up. Toes forward and to the other side. So now our feet are in reverse. So the back toes are turned in a little bit. The front toes are turned all the way pointing to the side. Lift the side chest. Spread the arms wide. Now recheck the front heel to the back arch, line up, making sure we're in alignment there. And then lift the side chest up. And then tip to the left. You can put your hand on the block or your shin. Top hand on the hip for a moment. Roll the chest open. Reach that top arm up. Triangle pose. Spread the arms wide. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot to bring yourself up. Toes forward. And then we'll go back to the first side again. Okay, so now we have some of this experience. Now we'll add a little bit more. So the front heel lines up with the back arch. We've already got that. Lift the side chest. So now, before we go, we press through the outer edge of the left foot and the big toe mound in the right. So in that first pose, you can rest your arms for a moment. In that first pose, we were paying attention to our feet, feeling the circle of the heel, feeling the toe mounds. So similarly with this pose. So right now, my back foot, I can feel that full circle, and I can feel the toe mounds from the little toe side to the big toe side. This time, you'll take your attention to the outer, that little toe side, and press down the entire edge of that outer foot. So the little toe side is pressing down. You can think of it as sharpening the edge. So you're pressing down in that back outer edge of the foot, And then in the right foot, pressing through the big toe mound. So stand here for a moment and feel that. The outer edge of the left foot, the big toe mound of the right foot. And then reach the arms wide and tip to the side. And then hand on the hip, and this time roll your top shoulder toward the wall, opening the chest. Reach the arm up for one last bit. Bring yourself up, toes forward, and to the other side. So now again, feel the outer edge of that back foot. Go back and feel the heel across the toe mounds, and then feel the outer edge of that right foot. And then in the left side, feel the heel across the toe mounds, and then feel that big toe especially pressing into the floor. Take the arms wide and tip over the left side. Spread the arms wide. And then put your top hand on your hip and then open the chest. Take that top shoulder back toward the wall behind you and then reach the top arm up toward the ceiling. Utthita Trikonasana. To come out, press through the outer edge of that back foot. Bring yourself up, toes forward, fingertips together, and either jump or step. So I'll show you the jump, or step. Back to Tadasana. Our next pose is Virabhadrasana 2. So a lot of the feet work that we did in those first two poses we'll do in this pose as well. So as you're standing here in Tadasana, feel the circle of the heel and feel the toe mounds. So sometimes it helps to go back and forth with your attention from the big toe mound flowing to the little toe mound, and then back again from the little toe mound back to the big toe mound. Lift the toes, feel those toe mounds, and then again the heels. Feel the full circle of the heel. Flow the shoulders toward the hands, broaden across the chest. We will jump or step our feet wide. So I'll show you the jump from Tadasana. So fingertips together and jump, or fingertips together and step your feet wide. Okay, now so similar to the last pose, we turn our feet to the right. Feel the full foot on the floor in the back, and then really press through the outer edge of that little toe side. And then the big toe mound in the right foot. And then with this pose, instead of tipping, we're going to bend the leg. So press through the outer edge of the back foot, soften the inner thigh of the right leg, and then look to make sure that your knee is right over your heel. And lift your chest, lift the side chest up, reach the arms wide, and then look over the right fingertips. So feeling the feet on the floor. And then straighten the leg, toes forward, and to the other side. So with these legs wide still, if you haven't checked for how wide your feet are, make sure that the ankles are as wide as the wrists. And then press through the outer edge of the right foot, the big toe mound in the left, soften the inner thigh, making sure the knee is right over the heel. And then lift the chest, spread the arms, and look over the left fingertips. So now again, press through the outer edge of that back foot, the big toe mound in the left foot, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Spread those arms wide, straighten that leg, toes forward, and you decide if you want to jump or step. If you want to jump, fingertips together and jump back to mountain pose. So this next pose, we go through Virabhadrasana 2 that we just did and take our arm down. So I'm going to show you this one first. So I take my feet wide, turn my feet to the right. We'll talk about the feet again. We'll look at the alignment. Then we go into Virabhadrasana 2, and now this time I take my hand down to the block. And I have the block right next to my calf muscle there. So it's right next to the ankle. My hand leans on the block, and then I open the chest away from the block. So this is the shape of it, and we'll talk through the points as we go. Okay, so then to come out, I tip myself up to Virabhadrasana 2, and then straighten the leg, and then jump or step back to Tadasana. So let's do this one together. So start in Tadasana, jump or step your feet wide, turn your feet to the right, feel the entire bottom of your feet, the heel, find your heel on both feet. And then on the right foot, feel the big toe mound pressing in. And on the back foot, feel the outer edge of that back foot. And then soften the inner thigh to bring that knee right over the heel. And then take your hand down to the block, top hand on the hip. So as we're here, feel those feet. Feel that big toe mound on the right foot and the outer edge of the back foot. And then from here, roll the chest open. So pressing down on that back foot and roll the chest open. And then to come out, again, press through the outer edge of that back foot, bring yourself up to Virabhadrasana 2, straighten the leg, toes forward. You can always rest your hands on your hips in between these poses. And then turn to the left. So feel those feet on the floor. In the right foot, the outer edge of the little toe side of the foot is pressing down. And the big toe mound on the left, soften the inner thigh. Virabhadrasana 2, spread the arms wide. And then take your hand down to the block. The block is right next to that ankle. Roll, or put your hand on your hip and roll or open that chest. Feeling the outer edge of that back foot and the big toe mound on the front foot. And open the chest. And then to come out, bring your torso up. And then straighten the leg, toes forward, fingertips together. And watch your blocks if you are going to jump. So you can also just bring your feet together. Our next pose is Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. And we're going to do this first one using a chair. So we'll do this together. Start with your right foot facing the chair, and then your right forearm goes down on the chair, and the left hand goes on the back of the chair. And then this bent leg here is going to straighten as you lift that top leg. So the first thing to think about is your foot on the floor, just as we've been thinking in those other poses. So feel your heel, feel the big toe mound especially, but then also feel the little toe mounds, or the others. So feel the full circle of the heel, the big toe mound, moving across the foot to the little toe mound, and then back to that big toe mound again. And then open up the pelvis and the chest up toward the ceiling. And then come down. So we're going to do it again on the other side, feeling that foot. So feeling the foot and then opening the body up. So now the left foot is facing the chair, the left forearm on the chair, the right hand on the back, and then turn your torso toward the front of the room, and then lift and straighten that bottom leg. For that standing foot, feel the heel on the floor. Feel the big toe mound to the little toe mound, back to the big toe mound. So we're pressing through the inner edge of that foot, the big toe mound, and the heel. And then open up that pelvis, open up the chest, and lengthen. And then come out. So Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Our second version of Ardha Chandrasana is using the wall. If you want to do the chair version again, you can. Otherwise, watch first. So I take my feet wide, I turn my feet to the right, I open the arms wide, and I tip for triangle pose. Utthita Trikonasana. Then I put my top hand on my hip, grab the block, have it underneath my shoulder, and then bend the front leg, step the back leg up, and then take the block with you as you lift up. So now the block is still underneath my hand, and then to come out I step way back into triangle pose, and then up. Toes forward, and feet and arms back together. So now let's do it together. So start in Tadasana. Jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Press through that outer edge of the back foot and the big toe mound in the front. Lift and lengthen and tip to the right. Put your hand on the block, top hand on the hip. In this part you want to try to do rather smoothly, but when you're first starting, it's certainly not going to be smooth, and that's okay. But you have the wall right here. So bend the right leg, step the back leg up, move the block forward, and lift. So I've got my heel on the wall and the back of my hand on the wall, and open the chest. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. And then to come out, step way back for a triangle pose, and then press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, and then we'll go to the other side. So you want to move your block if you only have one, do the other side, turn your feet to the left, tip down for triangle pose, top hand on the hip, and again, you'll try to move for smoothness, but it's okay if you're not. You have the wall right there. Bend the left leg, step the back leg up, take that block with you, under the shoulder, and half moon pose. Lift and lengthen. Lengthen the head away from that lifted heel back there. Ardha Chandrasana. And then to come out, step way back to try to get into that triangle pose again. Press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to Tadasana. Our next pose is Vriksasana, which means tree pose. So you can use the wall to do this balancing pose, or you can use a chair or both. So if you want the chair next to you, you can put the chair next to you. We're going to do the right side first. So we'll open this leg up, so you want your chair on the left. And you have the wall behind you, but you don't want to lean on the wall. You just have it near you. And elbows are nice for measuring the distance between, and then put your hands back for Tadasana. And then open up the right leg, have those balls of the toes that we've been working on for class, have the balls of the toes on the floor so you can rest and soften that inner thigh. And then the outer hip needs to come away from the chair. And then lift that right foot high up on your inner thigh. Now if the foot doesn't go to the inner thigh, then you can put it on the calf muscle. You can even have the balls of the toes on the floor with the heel on the ankle. But the main thing is you're opening up that inner thigh. So wherever your foot is, then you can either join your hands, or you can hold on to the chair or elbows on the wall. You can also take your arms up. If you get your arms up there, your thumbs can rest on the wall, and then lengthen that front body. Soften that face. This knee points straight out to the side is what we're searching for. Vriksasana. And then hands together and the foot down. And if you have a chair, you can move your chair to the other side. And then we'll be in Tadasana. Lift the side chest up. Open the left foot. So the balls of the toes are on the floor. Soften the inner thigh to the knee. Lift that foot high up on the inner thigh. And again, you can have your foot on your calf or on your ankle, that heel on your ankle. The main thing is do not put your foot on your knee. Lift the side chest up and choose where you would like your hands. You can have your elbows on the wall. You can have your hands together. You can do one arm up and one in the chair, whichever you choose. If you lift your arms and you're near the wall, you have the luxury of your thumbs on the wall for the support. So lift that front body up. And then bring those hands back together and feet back together. Our next pose is Chatush Padasana. So I will show you first and then we'll go into it together. So I lie down on my back. I walk my feet in toward my buttocks. I flow my shoulder toward my hands. And then I lift my tailbone up toward the ceiling, flow my shoulder under, or roll it under, tuck the shoulder under, and take my shoulders toward my hands. And then I lift my buttocks up, I lift my outer thighs up, and I soften my inner thighs, soften my abdomen. And so you can either stay like this, or you can put a block under the tailbone, and it's a little more restful. So then to come out of that, I lift up, take the block out, come down, and roll to my side. Okay, so let's do it together. So if you're not using a block, that's totally fine, but you can have your block handy if you're going to use it. So lie down on your back, walk the feet in toward your buttocks, flow the shoulders toward the hands, and then lift your pelvis up off the floor, taking those buttock muscles up, roll the shoulder under, roll that shoulder under. So you're working toward getting to the tops of your shoulders. And then use the buttocks muscles to lift. And then the outer thighs lift. And then soften the inner thighs. Soften your abdomen. Soften your face. And this is where if you want to put the block in, you can. So keeping that buttocks lifted up. Now if you have the block under you, you can stay. If you don't, we'll come down once and go up a second time. So rest for just a brief moment. Walk the feet in toward the buttocks. Lift the pelvis up by using the buttock muscles to lift, and then roll the shoulder under, lift the buttocks up, outer thighs up toward the ceiling, soften the inner thighs, soften the abdomen, and soften the face. So I'm on those tops of the shoulders, and the buttocks lifting up, soften the inner thighs. And then to come out, if you're on the block, you'll lift up, take the block out, and then we'll come down, moving from the space near our neck, down in the tailbone last. And then you can roll to your side and come up. Our next pose is called Supta Sukhasana. Supta means reclined, and Sukhasana means comfort pose or happy pose. And so for this one, you'll need your blankets or towels, and you'll fold your blankets so they're in a narrow fashion. And so if you have those, you'll fold 3 of them like that. The other possibility is a couch cushion. If you use a couch cushion, you'll still want a blanket on top of it, so you have something for your chest to go around. But the couch cushion can give you a little height, but the blankets can give you the space to support your torso where your chest can open over it. So we have the blanket set up like this, and then you'll sit in front of the blankets. So I'll just show you really quickly the shape of it, and then I'll talk you through it. So I'm sitting with my legs like a pretzel. I lift the chest up and lower myself to the blankets. And then I grab the opposite elbow and lengthen up and over the head. Okay, and then to come out, I roll to my side and push myself up. Okay, so now let's do this together. We'll do it twice. First time with the right leg in first, and then the left leg. And then we'll switch for the second time. So lift yourself up. You're leaning back on the hands. Lift from that back armpit to the front armpit. Lower your torso to the blankets. And then lie your head down. Now here you could have another blanket, or you can just fold that top blanket over for a little pillow. And then I flow my shoulders toward my hands and broaden across the chest. And so my legs are in the shape of a pretzel. My torso is supported on the blankets. Now, if you find that your lower back feels a little tight, you can take your hands in there and move the flesh of your buttocks toward your feet a bit. Now, you can overdo that, but you want to be able to have a lengthened lower back. Supta Sukhasana, reclined comfort pose. Start to soften the face. Feel the spreading across the chest and the flowing of the shoulders toward the hands. Feel the softening of the inner thighs, flowing toward the knees and softening the inner knee. Soften the muscles on the face and the jaw and the cheeks. And then now we're going to switch the cross of our feet. So that left foot will move out of the way for a moment. The right foot opens up. Now the left leg comes in first and the right leg follows. So now we're in the same pose, but we have the opposite leg tucked in first. And now that we've done that, relax the inner thighs to the knees. And then if you need to re-lengthen the low back, take your hands between the blankets and your buttock and lengthen that lower back by taking the flesh of your buttocks away. And notice if you've done it too much. You want to find a nice balance there where your low back is lengthened. Re-soften the inner thigh. Re-soften the inner knee. Flow the shoulders toward the hands. Soften the face. And then to come out, roll to your side. So our next pose is Shavasana. So you'll lie down on your back. Have your feet on the floor with your knees bent for a moment. And then to lengthen the low back, you can lift up the buttocks, take your hands, move the flesh of your buttocks away from the low back, and then take your legs out first together, one at a time, and then allow the thighs to just relax to the side, the feet splay to the side, and then flow those shoulders gently toward the hands, taking the shoulders away from the ears. Lengthen the back of the skull gently away from the shoulders and soften the face. Soften the abdomen, soften the shoulders to the hands. Soften the hips all the way to the feet. So just as in the beginning of class, when we really try to be aware of our feet more than we usually are, right now we're going to try to do that throughout our body. So first, starting with the face, try to soften the muscles around your eyes. Focus your attention there. Notice if you're holding tension between your eyebrows and try to soften that whole space around your eyes. Soften the muscles around the cheeks. And then soften your jaw. Unhinge your lower jaw from your upper jaw. Doing your best to let go of any last expression on your face. Soften your neck and your throat. Soften your shoulders to your hands. Flow the shoulders through the elbow, through the forearm, into your hands. And your hands are facing the ceiling with your fingers half open. Soften your chest and your upper back. Soften your abdomen and your low back. Soften from your hips, through your inner thighs, through your inner knees, through your inner calves, and soften the ankles, splaying them to the side. From the top of your head all the way down to your feet, completely let go. And then to begin to come out, bend your arms, put your hands onto your front body. Bend your left leg, put your foot on the floor. Draw your right arm up and over your head so your arm is straight above your head along your ear side, right next to your ear. And that arm will become your pillow as you use the muscles of your left leg to roll yourself to the right. So we're not shifting the hips, but we're just rolling. So we've got the arm lengthened up, push off the left side, roll to our right, and then you can join the feet together or the knees together for comfort. And then use that top arm along with the bottom arm to push yourself up into a seated position. And there's a tradition in yoga where we say namaste, which means the light in me honors the light in you, or the best in me greets or says hello to the best in you. So we join our hands together in the middle of our chest, bow our head and say namaste. Namaste.